Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Movie Goodness, where we examine life through cinema here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and election 2024 is over. No more debates, no more stupid ads on the radio, no more stupid ads on the television, nothing. It is over. People have went to the voting booths and made their selection. And your 47th president of the United States of America is none other than convicted felon Donald Trump. Yes, people showed up and showed out and put this racist, rapist, misogynistic criminal back in office. This can only happen in the United States of America. This is the most backwards, unbelievable thing you can ever imagine. I I sat back for the last 2 days when all this happened. Election night. I've been having a headache, a pure, unadulterated migraine for 2 days, and it's not anger. It's a weird emotion, to be honest with you. I never felt this before. It's actually kind of scary, to be honest with you, because I'm not mad. I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked by this. It's like, it's just a disbelief, I guess, because I sat back when all this was happening, when, leading up to the election, with listening to Donald Trump, because unlike others who just hate Donald Trump to hate him, I don't like him because of the stuff he say, because I actually listen to the stuff he says and compare it to people who actually has sense. And I'm sitting there listening to him, and I'm like, man, there's no way this is even possible that he has a whimper of a chance. I told a friend of mine that this was going to be a landslide for Kamala Harris. I was really hoping, because I was holding on to hope that common sense would prevail. It's not so much of Kamala, it was just this goddess of a candidate. Like she wasn't perfect. Nobody's perfect. There isn't a perfect candidate. Nobody, even that's including if your mom ran. There is no perfect candidate. But in comparison of the two, me having to choose one of the two, I'm voting for Kamala. Look, that wasn't even up for debate. Yeah. Or Kamala. 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 It wasn't even up for debate. I mean, this dude, number one, we've seen this movie before. The popcorn's stale. We've been here before with Donald Trump. I've seen what I needed to see. What am I tripping on? What am I not? Was I delusional for 4 years? Because I remember those 4 years he was here. It was horrible. I remember the racial uprising, I guess you can say, by white folks. Maybe because I live in the South or something, but it was very prevalent. And it wasn't even in the South. Let's not forget about the George Floyd incident. Let's not forget about these police officers just killing black folks like it was target practice every single day. Now, they still do that, and they've been doing that before Donald Trump. I'm not indicating that it just happened those 4 years, but it was far more frequent. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was very, very prevalent during that time. And what made it so bad, it's still happening now, but there's a smidge more accountability now. During those 4 years, there was zero accountability. Zero. I guess we're back in that again. We're going back to that again. People were bold back then. You got the tiki torch parades and protests with the KKK and all these other people. You had all that going on, And what did Donald Trump say? Oh, there's good people on both sides. What? People getting ran over in the, I mean, stuff like that. Stuff like that. People running into churches and shooting up people. I mean, come on. All this was going on. And dare I bring up January 6th. I guess a day that it doesn't mean jack, because he already said if he was reelected, which he is, he's going to pardon everybody who participated in that, which means that that was all right. That was all right. Well, he's only going to pardon all of them after he pardons himself from those 34 counts that he was convicted on just a few months ago. And so, yeah, there's that as well. But for some strange reason, it made more sense for about 75 million Americans. It made more sense for them to put in this criminal, convicted criminal, put him into the highest office in the world over an individual who is one of the most decorated, well qualified women to ever run for president. And I mean, well qualified. I don't care what you feel about Kamala Harris or Kamala Harris, however you want to pronounce it this week. I don't care how you feel about her, but you can't argue the fact that she is the most qualified. She was an attorney, a prosecutor, a DA, an assistant, not an assistant, what you call that? A AG, attorney general. Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't get it out. She was an attorney general. She was a senator. She is currently the vice president of the United States. I mean, she literally went through every branch of the government. She's more qualified than Biden. She's more qualified than any other president who has sat in that seat. She is the only person to have sat on every branch of government. And you get comments like, why is she running? She's not qualified. Are you serious? And you got Donald Trump, but you making a case for Donald Trump? A man who bankrupted a casino? He bankrupted a casino. Who does that? How is that even possible? That is impossible. But Donald Trump, he was able to do it, and which is another reason why I don't understand people who voted for him. Look, let me tell you something. Everybody, if that's your candidate, that's your candidate. That's fine. I think the part that just disturbs me is these little sneak disses. You know, the ones that sit there and, haven't said a word. You haven't heard nothing throughout this whole election cycle from certain people in your circle, right? And then Wednesday after the election, Thursday after the election, these people just, it's like they're jumping out of trees, they're coming out of nowhere. They're like, oh yeah, I voted for Trump and all that. Where did this come from? Now all of a sudden you a Trump supporter. Where did this come from? It is infuriating. Like I said, if that's your guy, that's your guy. But say it with your chest from jump. Keep that energy throughout. Be proud of who you picking for. I voted for Harris. And I'm proud that I voted for Harris. I mean, and she lost. It's no shame in it. That was my pick. And I made it known prior that was going to be my pick. But you got to sneak behind. If you got to sneak and vote for somebody, something's wrong. But today's show, and we're almost 10 minutes into this into this episode, and we haven't even broke down what we're doing. Well, obviously you can see what we're doing. This is a vent session, basically. This is a episode dedicated for me to get stuff off my chest. Now, this is probably going to be my least downloaded episode, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Yeah, but it is what it is. I'm gonna stay true to who I am, and this is the show. But we're gonna break down a few topics. That leading up to election day, that I heard a lot of complaining about from certain people, even now, and none of it logically makes sense to me. Now, I'm gonna throw these out there, and it's gonna come off as condescending and just punching down or punching up, whatever. And I know a lot of people probably gonna be offended by it, but just know, before you jump in the comments or send messages, just know this: educate me, because maybe I just don't know. Because I'm trying to come in a respectable manner. At least I'm gonna try. I'm going to attempt. I'm gonna come with a peaceful nature, a humbled spirit, and try to get some clarity on something. And if you have a counter, or can give me a logical explanation why I have it wrong, by all means, let me know. Don't just have me wandering around like a buffoon. I could have gotten it wrong. And that's what we're supposed to do with one another. That's the point of this show. Because I plan to drop some nuggets today as well. And so for all of you who may have thoughts about some of these topics and see it one way, I'm going to actually come with some numbers and facts on a few of them. They may make you say probably too little too late at this point, of course, because the election is over, but may look back and say, huh, I didn't see it that way. But it's all good. And after all of that, we're going to have a short review of a film that I revisit just on yesterday. And I don't know why it popped in my head, but it was my inspiration for doing today's show, because honestly, I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to talk about this election. Didn't want to talk about Trump. Didn't want to talk about the results. I didn't want to talk about nothing. But I did have the crushing need to do this show, because I do love this show and all of you who listen on a regular. So I'm this movie made me want to do this show, and it is none other than the 2006 Mike Judge directed film Idiocracy, which is a comedy that stars Luke Wilson and Maya Rudolph. Ironically, Maya Rudolph from SNL, who was parodying Kamala Harris on Saturday Night Live. So it's kind of weird how that all came together. But yeah, we're gonna review that film, because I feel that even though that is a science fiction comedy, we are slowly, well, ain't no point saying slowly, we are rapidly heading into this direction. It's almost a prophecy, this film, but we'll get to it when we review the film. But I told a friend of mine Thursday morning that not Thursday morning, excuse me, Tuesday morning, before I went to go vote. And he was like, man, today's the day. I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. And it's not because, being a part of history, voting for a woman of color eh, for the highest position in this country or whatever. All that was fine and good. Actually, that was more secondary to me, but it was the fact that I was looking at it from the aspect of my kids. And this was the first election that I ever voted with 99% of my motivation were my two girls. It had nothing to do with me. I guess the 1% had to do with me, but the other 99 was about my daughters, and it wasn't because it was a black woman and all this here. It was because of the future and what's at stake in this election. And that's part of the problem that I have with the results of this election, because I feel that with this idiot being elected yet again, we we're taking 4 or 5 steps back after we took 2 steps forward, um trying to recover from the 8 steps back that we had the first time he was in office. So it is very, very discouraging in that sense. Plus, my daughter, my youngest daughter, this was her first time voting. This was her first time she was eligible to vote, of age. And she was so excited. I mean, if you know me and you know my family, and you know my youngest daughter, she doesn't show much emotion. you know, she'll show it around the house, but when we out and about, not so much. But she was so excited about voting for the first time, and we went to the polling place, and she walked in. We told everybody that, okay, this is her first time, and after she finished voting, and when you hit finish, it dings, and when it dinged, everybody in there clapped and celebrated when she finished, and she came. I mean, she was so happy. She was elated that she was able to vote and got her sticker and all this here, and I was so proud, because it was like, man, you know, it's the little things, because I remember when her and her sister were younger, and after work on election day, I'll come home, get them off the bus, and then I'll go to vote, and they'll come with me, and they used to come in the booth with me to see me vote. And it weren't so much to teach them, but at the same time, I was teaching them and didn't realize it, and they vote, they vote for everything. So it is cool to see that. But aside from that, my children's future was on the line, and I'm scared to death going forward, with all that this dude possibly has in store for everybody, not just women, even though women's rights were on the attack here. We were defending for that, voting for that in certain states that it was actually on the ballot, abortion and whatnot and things like that. Just like I told my daughter the night before, my oldest daughter, we were talking about it, and I said, I'm voting for you. I'm voting for your right to choose. It's your body. I don't control your body. And so I don't expect the government to control your body. And we got on the subject of abortion. I don't make it a secret. I don't agree with abortion, but I also am not that type of, oh man, tear it all down. It's not my decision. That's the woman's decision. And just because I don't agree with it, doesn't mean that I don't feel that there should be provisions in place, because that is something that is a sin, is not just a get out of jail free card. Now there are people who use it as that, and those are the ones I disagree with. But when we talk about health, when we talk about a woman might die, her and the baby going full term, and incest, rape, stuff of that nature. Yeah, I get it. I completely understand, but at the same time, it's not my decision. It's not my decision. That's their decision. That's their bodies. Any woman, black, white, whoever, it's their decision. And so that's my main motivation for voting this go around. And that's why it hurt so bad that we didn't get that. Now, once again, let me reiterate about Republicans. Me growing up, born and raised, currently living in Louisiana. Louisiana is a red state. It's been a red state as long as I've been on planet Earth. It has always been a red state. But that never deterred me from voting, even though I'm not a Democrat either. Um, I'm actually a registered independent. But it, very rarely I'll vote Republican, but it depends on what that Republican is talking about. But in any event, I mainly would vote more often than not on the Democratic side, but that's not my party. I don't actually, it's none of them. I'm in no parties. Don't rock with them. But with Louisiana being a red state, obviously that lets you know that I have a lot of associates. I'm skittish with the friends thing right now, but there are a lot of associates of mine who are Republicans, and that's fine. If you're a Republican, that's fine because there are some Republican policies and views that I actually rock with. There are some Democratic views that I rock with, just like there are some that I don't, and the same thing with Republicans. That's why I'm on the fence with them. They both kind of blow smoke up your behind anyway, so I decided nah. But overall, I really don't deal with them because most Republicans, they're more hypocritical than anybody else, and that's saying a lot because because Democrats are. Don't get me started. But anyways, if you're a Republican, that's fine. But him, I mean, really, you're a Republican. I need you to step back for a second. Take a deep breath, exhale, open your eyes. Him? I mean, come on. Come on. That makes no sense. Republican Party. Allegedly the party of law and order. 34 counts. Guilty. Republican Party. The party of moral family values. Paying off porn stars, 15 ex-wives, and all this other stuff. Can you help me out here? Can somebody please help me? Is this or is this not? Just a smidget. Just a smidget. Hypocritical. This is so, I mean, everything that allegedly Republicans stand firm on, he is a direct contradiction of. Now, once again, if I'm wrong, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear what you have to say. Because around this time, this is the stuff we will hear on Fox News about Kamala Harris, how she stole this woman's husband, her current husband and stuff like that. Huh? Even if that's true, really? We're going down that road, and this is y'all candidate. This y'all do, but y'all want to throw stones at her? Really? It was just mind-boggling. Another point, you notice after the election. Now it was being set up throughout this whole process, voter fraud, voter tampering, and all this here. You notice you ain't heard a peep about that since you haven't heard a peep. Now I think this was pretty decisive. I don't think there was any shenanigans, other than I did see something. One report about machines flip flopping or something to that effect. I in Georgia or whatever, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But it's not nothing that deserved enough attention. But had that had flip flopped the other way, you'll be hearing about it, and that's my point. They've been saying that the election is going to be rigged. It's going to be that until they won. Now all of a sudden it was fair. All of a sudden it's a fair election. I'm telling you, people, you can't make this stuff up. Project 2025. Did we forget? Did we not remember what that was all about? Now, throughout the campaign, he claimed he never read it. He don't know what that's about. This, that, and the third. But everybody close around him who was associated with this Project 2025, one day after the election came out, what was his name? Steve Bannon and all this. What was his words? Oh, this was part of the plan. Yeah, this was always part of the plan. Project 2025. I did a whole show on that. If you want to know what Project 2025 is, go look it up. Because I broke it down bit by bit. And it's frightening. It's sort of frightening. And if they take a piece of that, it's a problem. It don't have to do the whole thing. Well, if you do the whole thing, we're basically going back to 1479. You know, we might as well go back to the old prospector days, you know. But it's not a good time for black folks, I can tell you that much. But if they just do a piece of it, it's a problem. But for some strange reason, people forgot. Or to put it more accurately, didn't care. To all my peeps who are out there in podcast listening land, who are defending their choice of voting for Donald Trump, who's been spending the last 48 hours defending themselves of their decision. Number one, if you're a so-called friend of mine and you have nothing to defend. You've told me everything I needed to know about you. I have nothing to say. There's really nothing to say. You aligned yourself with pure evil, and that's point blank period. There's honestly nothing you can do, nothing you can say that can justify that choice. One policy. Now, if he had one policy that appealed to your senses, oh man, he's going to do such and such. That's going to help me out and put more money in my pocket or whatever the case may be. All right, good for you. But what about the other 100 policies that's going to hurt millions of others? Sometimes you have to sacrifice your comfort for the greater good. And your greater good is your children, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews going forward in the future. Like I was saying earlier, I wasn't voting for me. I was voting for my daughters. I wasn't worried about putting money in my pocket. I'm 45 years old. I've been poor for 45 years. I fully expect to be poor for 45 more years. I have no problem with that. And that's fine. But as long as my children are able to excel and do better than me and their mama, well, just like me and my wife are doing better than what our parents had done growing up. They did the best they could, but it's stepping stones. It's all about getting higher. My parents, you know, they didn't graduate from high school. They went back and got their GEDs later on in life, but they didn't have the opportunity to graduate. Me, my wife, we graduated high school, so we were able to go up a notch. I didn't go to college, but my children went to college, graduated college. They went up a notch, and that's what I was trying to express earlier. You know, it's not about me. Sometimes you got to be selfish or selfless. I should say you have to be selfless and make the sacrifice for the greater good. Oh, I'm trying to put money in my pocket. You know, it's a guy. It's a guy I know, and I will hold his name as if y'all want to know who I'm talking about. This guy I know. And this was months ago, and this before Kamala even came into the picture, because we were talking about Biden and Trump. And the dude told me, and he black now. He told me, man, I'm voting for Trump. I'm like, really? He was like, yeah, I'm voting for Trump because Trump gave us a stimulus check. What? Are we talking about a stimulus check during the pandemic? A stimulus check, one, and you're gonna say, and he didn't do that. Congress did that. But that was the deal breaker for you. I stopped talking. It was really nothing else to talk about at that point, because he was very, very committed to his choice. Now I don't know what happened after, because like I said, didn't speak to him no more about that. We've talked, of course, but we haven't talked about politics, so to speak. But I don't know what or if his views changed once Kamala came into the picture, but I doubt it. But anywho's the economy, the economy. While we're talking about money and getting this and getting that stimulus check that everybody thought was just a blessing from Emperor Trump, that he just made it rain from Mount Olympus and gave us all money, money. Let me tell y'all something. Number one, the economy is not messed up. People who think that the economy is so bad right now because groceries are high, which has nothing to do with the government. That has nothing to do with the government. Do research. Just a little research, and you'll find out the government has nothing to do with that. Joe Biden can't control that, and Donald Trump certainly can't. And now they can affect it, yes. They can affect it in a negative way. For instance, tariffs that Donald Trump is so gun-ho to do, which he did his previous administration. You know what tariffs do? Yeah, y'all know what it does? Yeah, it forces companies outside the United States or wherever to have to pay for import and exports and all this other stuff. That's all fine and good. Yeah, make them pay for it up front. But you want to know who pays for it on the back end, ladies and gentlemen? That'll be the consumer. That'll be me and you. Yes, we have to pay for that. Just like we were for the first 2 years of Biden, that everybody just felt like, oh, Biden messed up the economy. No, it was the tariffs that Donald Trump put in place. Biden removed most of the tariffs. That's how the economy is starting to bounce back now. But believe you me, enjoy it. Enjoy it while you can, because it's about to go back. But you know what this orange muppet is going to do? He's going to blame Biden once those numbers go down. All of those infrastructure deals and laws that were passed a couple of years ago by Biden that won't take effect till 2025, 2026. And there's going to be this big boom in infrastructure projects across the country and all this here. He's going to try to take the credit for it. But y'all can pin mark this episode. I said it here first. That had nothing to do with Trump. It had nothing to do with Trump. But I bet you a fat man, he going to take the credit for it. But we are all just enamored by when this man talks. For some strange reason, he sounds like he talks sense to a certain majority of people here, and it is scaring me. It's scaring me, honestly. Transgender rights. Well, it would be honest with you, the LGBT plus community as a whole, but especially trans. Let me ask y'all a question. For all of you who are just transphobic and homophobic and just phobic. I mean, why? What's the deal? These people are just trying to live. These people are just trying to live, and it is sad to sit back and see how much hate is going towards these people. Now let me say this. There was a time in my life that I was on that side. I ain't gonna say hate, but I was like, man, I don't get these people. But I grew up. I grew up. And I grew past it. You know why? Because it hit me like a ton of bricks one day that at one point in time, this is, I mean, use your Google machines, people. Go back in time about 300 years. The same vitriol that the LGBTQ plus community is going through right now, blacks did it. They went through it. And you can make a very good argument that we're still going through it. But I thought about all of the hate, all of the ridicule that black folks have been dealing with since they stepped foot on this country. That these trans and lesbians and gays and all the queer people have been going through, and it's like, my God, all they doing is living their life. Is not affecting your life, and it's not. Even if whether you agree with their lifestyle or not, how does that affect you? Why are you so scared of gay people? I don't get it. And how did that turn political? I don't get it. That's fine. You don't agree with it. It's a lot of people's lives I don't agree with, and it has nothing to do with homosexuality. I don't agree with drunks, so I don't go around drunks. I don't agree with crackheads, so I don't go around crackheads. I don't go around saying, oh, they need to stop smoking crack. Oh, you need to stop. I ain't standing in front of a liquor store with a stop sign. Like, oh, don't go in there. Don't go in there. You know, it's none of that. That's your business. It's the same thing with this community. That's their business. So why are we interjecting into their business and then get mad when something happens to the degree where they get a form of protection from the government? Some laws are put into place to protect these communities. Oh, why they put these special provisions in place? Because of you. That's why. But you turn everything political, and it don't need to be. You turn hate. Everything is hate and fear that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth. And that's the thing. Oh, your kids are going to go to school one day. You're going to drop them off. He's Billy. You pick them up. It's Barber. I mean, what is you talking about? What is what is this? And people buy that. They buy that. Just like with the trans women in sports, in women's sports. Let's be honest. Be honest with yourself for once in your life. Even if that's true, even if LeBron James decide he wakes up today and he wants to be LeBrother James, put on a wig and go play in the WNBA, you're not going to watch it. You don't watch it now. Nobody watches women's sports. Be honest with yourself. So why is it affecting you if a man doing it, a woman doing it, or a chimpanzee with one leg? You're not watching it anyway. Stop. Don't do that. Don't do that to try to prove a point that people are killing me here. Y'all are killing me. Speaking of killing, these illegal immigrants. Another tough topic. Probably the toughest topic throughout this election cycle. Incited by Donald J. Trump, that illegals are coming over here. They're raping, pillaging, murdering and our women, raping our women, and stealing our land. Yeah, just like white folks did to the indigenous people when they took this country. But yeah, they feel that illegal immigrants are over here just wreaking havoc. Not to mention eating all the dogs, eating all the cats. Yeah, they're just over here wrecking shop, man. Well, let's not fool ourselves, people. Let's not sit here and act like all the killing that's taking place in this country are from illegal illegal aliens. Uh, yes, they are. Now, they aren't perfect. I'm pretty sure there are some illegal immigrants who are doing nefarious deeds here in the United States. Of course there are, but they're not doing no more than what American citizens are doing. They're doing it themselves. Why we act like we live in a perfect utopia here, where there's no killing and no crime being committed. The president of this country is a criminal. Well, the president elect, man, come on, what is this, the Twilight Zone? Really? Really? But in everybody's head, with this fear mongering and this negative narrative that Donald Trump and JD Vance have been spewing out, it's like, man, come on, bro. This is low hanging fruit. You appealing to the primal instinct of every human being, because every human being has anger and hatred somewhere deep in. It's all about being suppressed. It's all about conquering it with love in your heart and in your mind. That's how you get through it. But everybody has a smidge of hatred, a smidge of fear that runs through them in some shape, form, or fashion. It don't have to be a person. I mean, you can hate a smell. You can love everybody, but you can hate how something smells, or hate how something looks, or hate a certain color. But you know what I'm saying? It's in us. It's in us. And they found the formula to appeal to a certain majority of this country. And it's weird because this country, as I kind of wink hinted at, what this country was built on in the first place. This country is nothing but immigrants. Unless you're Native American or indigenous, you're an immigrant. Point blank, period. Your family, your great grandpappy came here on a boat. Either some was shackled on a boat, or you came here huddled up on a boat. You came here on a boat. Everybody. Everybody. But if you look at the symbol of this country, the welcoming mat of this country, the Statue of Liberty, it's scrolled on there. It's actually singed on the statue. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuge of your teeming shore. Send those, the homeless, tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp besides the golden door. Yes, that's the welcome to this country. So I guess we tear that down too, huh? Tear that down and put a statue of Trump. I'm saying that jokingly, but it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if that was to happen. It's unbelievable, man. This country built on immigration. Literally built on immigration. Physically, mentally, and spiritually. Ironically. So, you know what I'm saying? The immigrants came here. They didn't want to do the work, so they went and stole a whole a group of people to do the work. That went so far, they milked that cow dry. Then you had another group, another culture come in. They're doing the work, and they're complaining about them doing the work that they won't do, because every quote unquote illegal immigrant who is here working, it's stealing your job. You wouldn't do that job. You would not do that job. And so don't sit here and act like, oh man, I can pick strawberries. You're a lie. Because if you would, you'd be out there picking the strawberries. Don't do that. No. But it is what it is. The big one, the who daddy for me. You really can't rank these issues, but they're all big in their own right. Women's rights. A woman's right. We talked about it a little while earlier. A woman's right to choose. Just like I stated with abortion, I'm not a proponent of abortion. I'm not a ally to that actual argument. I don't 100% agree with abortion. I'm more of a 50-50 guy when it comes to abortion. But it's not my choice to make. So I have zero zero say in that. I think I started to hint or started to talk about what me and my daughter was talking about when it came to abortion. I had told her that I don't agree with abortion, but I agree with your right to choose. I agree with your right to choose. I can't control what you do. I can't control your body. That's your choice. On a spiritual standpoint, me being a Christian, I, I definitely don't believe in it. I don't rock with it. So with that being said, if it was to happen, I still wouldn't get mad. I'll be disappointed. I wouldn't get mad because at the end of the day, I can't do nothing to her. That's between you and the man. You're gonna have to answer for that, not me. And so that's why I don't see why men, white, black, Latino, whatever the case may be, you have no right to cast a vote to say what a woman can do with her body. No right. None. And this is, man, I got a mama, I have sisters, I have a wife, I have 2 daughters. I'm surrounded by women. And now, does that kind of sway my decision in a lot of things? No, it really don't. Well, I guess it do, because I'm looking from their shoes. I'm putting on their shoes or their high heels and, and looking at the world through their eyes. No, because I don't see a world where my body could be under control, under the thumb of a government. If there was something like that men can do, men can't do nothing. We worthless. you ever sit back and thought about men are worthless, and when we get to the numbers in this race, in this election, it's really going to show how worthless a man is. But we are worthless. A woman does it all. A woman can do it all. And we want to sit there and dictate what she can do and how she can do it. Nah, that is ridiculous. That is utterly ridiculous to me. The other biggie that has been kind of boiling over for the past, I don't know, year maybe. Well, actually, to be honest with you, for centuries, and that is the Israel-Palestine war. It's this Gaza Strip deal with Hamas and all this here. This is an issue. This is a serious, serious issue. And I know there's a lot of people who are, on the side of Israel. And I get it, because Israel is an ally to the United States. So that's not going to change. And for people who thought that would change under Kamala, I keep saying it wrong. And that just started today. Honest to God, I've been saying her name right this whole time until today. But anyways, you thought that was going to change under her. No, that was not going to change, and vice versa. It's not going to change under Trump. It's still going to be an ally to Israel. Now, how can I put this? I understand both sides. Now, when Trump is famously say, when he talked about that North Carolina protest, there's good people on both sides. It can be used here in a degree. There's good people on both sides. There are some innocent lives on both sides, but even more so in Palestine, because Palestine don't have an army. They don't have an army. That's a militia. Israel has an army. They have the funds. They have the weaponry, due to their alliance with the United States, of course. And there is the problem. So all Harris was trying to do, or what she was talking about, was trying to get both sides to come to the table and squash it. Even though this is a generations war, centuries long war between these two countries, and no end in sight. All you can do is try to stick a band-aid on it for now. But the fighting would never stop. But under Trump, it will stop because Israel is going to completely wipe out Palestine. They're going to wipe them out. And that's the part where I'm just not with it. I'm not with it. No matter what your allegiance are, no matter, for example, let's use this comparisons. Now we know that United States and Israel are allies. Let's just say me and you are best buds. You get in a fight with somebody, and all of a sudden you knock them out, right? You knock them out. You won the fight, but while they're on the ground, you start stomping them in the head. Just start stomping them in the head like you about to kill them. Now I have two choices to make at this point. I can either pull you off, like, look, you won the fight, let it go, or be complicit and cheer you on and watch you murder this man who has a wife at home, children at home that need their father, their husband, and he's the only provider for them and all this other stuff. But I don't care, because my friend he's gonna end this fighting, because y'all been fighting back and forth for years and you've had enough and all this here. But instead of me trying to stop you, that's what happens. Just let him kill. That's what's going on there. That's the best way I can try to describe it. And I mean, try. But yeah, I think that we're in for a rude awakening there, and it's not going to stop there. The Ukraine as well. Don't think for one single solitary minute that Russia is going to back off of the Ukraine now that his butt buddy Trump and Putin, that he's just gonna stop now that Trump is there. No. Trump, no. Trump gonna help him out. Watch, gonna wipe out the Ukraine once again. It's sad. It's sad with this dude. I heard comments that the Democrats should have won, at least should have ran a better campaign. I agree and disagree at the exact same time, if that makes sense. I agree they should have won I keep saying won. They should have ran a better campaign, because Biden should have dropped out sooner. He should have dropped out. Well, I'll put it better. He should have said from jump that he's going to be a one-term president and stuck to that, and gave the Democratic Party enough time to get the right candidate in place. And that's not to say that Harris wasn't, because like I said before, she was the most qualified that I can think of. So I'm not saying that, but gave her more time to run a smoother campaign rather than only having 100 days. And that's all she had, was 100 days to do what she did. And I thought it was phenomenal. I thought she ran a pretty good campaign, me personally. I mean, with the time that she had and resources and whatnot, she raised a lot of money. I mean, she did the best she could. Now, could she have done better if she had the, proper amount of time to put things together? Maybe. We'll never know, I guess. But no, I don't think a better campaign. Well, let me say this too, and this is my frustration with Democrats. Democrats are too soft. They are too soft. You see how Republicans, they stick together no matter what, even though they know that they are aligning themselves with Satan himself. They are sticking with it. They are united in that effort. Democrats, they fight amongst each other. They tear each other down. I mean, self-deprecating. It is so. I couldn't be a Democrat right now. It's so ridiculous what they do. And then I've seen Bernie Sanders and AOC hop on social media with their statements after the results of the election and all this here. I'm like, where were y'all during the campaign? This is my first time seeing you fools. And you see my point? It's like y'all went around stomping for Harris, but now all of a sudden, oh, y'all in panic mode. It's too late now. You should have been stomping 2-3 months ago, but whatever. Yeah, Democrats need to come together, get somebody groomed. You got 2 years. You have 2 years to get this right. Hopefully we're not in a nuclear war by then, but if we are in a position to overthrow this dictatorship that Trump is about to put in place, we need to have somebody in place that everybody can stand behind. Everybody, not just Democrats, not just independents, but Republicans too. And so, yeah, they need to do better in that aspect. Here's the problem, and here's the reality. Like I mentioned, Kamala Harris was clearly the most qualified out of the two. Now, I ain't gonna say she's the most qualified person walking the earth to be president, but between her and Trump, it's not even close. It's not even up for debate. She was clearly the most qualified. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. She's a woman, and let's call it a buck. She's a woman. The United States of America will never elect a woman into the White House. That'll never happen. And I'm ashamed to say it, but it's the truth. You're never going to get anybody this qualified, female wise. Well, I ain't going to say never. God, forgive me for that. But no time soon. No time soon. And I could be wrong on that too. Now that I'm thinking back in my mind's eye, I said the same thing with Hillary. When Hillary lost, I was like, well, we'll never get a woman this close again. We'll never get a woman this close. And it happened. It happened, what, 8 years later. But I don't know, man, because this woman did everything right. She ran a real good campaign. She's the current vice president of the United States. She was a prosecutor. She was a lawyer. She was a attorney general. She was a senator. She was all this good stuff. It wasn't enough to beat a convicted criminal. You can't make this up. And those numbers don't lie. Let's go through the numbers. Let's break it down. How this election shaped out numbers wise. Let's go by gender. Male. Now this is not separated by race. This is gender. Male. Donald Trump got 55% of the male vote. Female, Kamala Harris got 53% of the vote. Now, let's go racial. Let's go racial. White, 57%. Non-white, 64%. Swinging over to sex by race. White male, Donald Trump got 60% of the vote. I'm shocked it wasn't higher, to be honest with you. White female, 53% of the vote. Black males, 77% of the vote for Kamala Harris. Good job, men. good, good job, my brothers. But you other 21%. Anyways, black women showed up, showed out. 91% for Harris. Latino men, 55% for Trump. Latino women, 60% for Harris. Other races, it was split down the middle. Going by age group from 18 to 29. 18 to 29-year-olds, 54% for Kamala Harris. And that was a shocker to me. I thought more young people would kind of swing Harris' way. Even though she got the majority, but that wasn't, I thought that would be a higher number, to be honest with you. 30 to 44 years of age, that was dead even. It was split for both candidates. Now, 45 to 64 years old, 54% to Trump. 66 to whenever, infinity years of age, it was split, shockingly, between the two candidates. Now, this one I deemed a little, it's not important, but it shines a light on some things. And this is in no way insulting nobody, but this is just the demographics, the way the numbers broke down. And I thought it was very interesting how these numbers really told the tale. It says a lot. Let's go by the best description of your education. And so if you never went to college, if you never attended college, 63% of individuals who did not go to college voted for Donald Trump. For those who have an associate's degree, an AA, 56% voted for Donald Trump. Those with a bachelor degree, 53% voted for Harris. Those with a bachelor degree or a PhD, MBA, you know, the who went to school for more than 4 years, those individuals, 59% voted for Harris. Coincidence? I think not, but I just thought that was interesting. That was some interesting numbers to throw out there. You heard me mention the Latinos and their demographic and their numbers. I'm not disappointed with the Latinos. I know a lot of people are, you know, but I'm not, because I've grown up around Latinos. My best friend, two of my best friends, are of Latino descent or straight up Hispanic, you know, and love them like brothers. Love them like brothers, but they're Republicans. We haven't discussed nothing that took place leading up to this race or the race there is that followed the results, I should say. And so, and I don't plan to. I really don't plan to. But number one, I know how they stand. I know where they stand. And I hope and pray they know where I stand. So we really kind of respect ourselves, respect the others, you know, when it comes to this. But in any event, the numbers for the Latino population here in this country, it was very upsetting to other Latinos. And, you know, the two that I mentioned, the two of my besties who are Republicans, you know, I fully expected them, even though I don't know for certain, but I fully expected them to vote for Trump. But there are those who are in the Latin community that do not rock with Trump. And the stuff that was said by his campaign, by his people, that hate rally that he put on at Madison Square Garden about a week or so ago, where they called Puerto Rico a floating pile of trash in the ocean or whatever. And it had all this backlash about it, and the Puerto Rican community rose up and endorsed Kamala Harris. Too late for that, but they did it, and it still didn't help. It still didn't help. There's an argument to be made, and I'm making this statement. This isn't my feelings. This is what was expressed to me. So don't go around saying, oh, Kevin said such and such. Wait, listen to the whole thing before you jump crazy. But within the Latino community, there are a lot of Latinos who can't stand other Latinos because they feel that they think they're white. They're trying to be white. And to redirect, so I'm not picking on Latinos, it's the same thing in the black community too. So don't trip. There are some Negroes walking around who think they're white, who think they're one of them, act like, try to move like them, and all this other. You're not white. You can't do the stuff that white folks do. It's not. It's impossible. It's truly impossible. But it is disappointing in a way that that people of color can't stick together. But I can't get too mad at Latinos because, us as black folks, we can't stick together. You know how many black folks I know? I know that's a stupid question. I would assume you know a lot, Kevin, being as though you're black. That's true. But I mean, I didn't finish the question. You know how many black folks I know that were going to vote for Trump, and they're not Republicans. They just weren't going to vote for Harris because of, she locked up thousands of black men when she was a attorney general in California and all that. Jesus, bro. What that got to do with anything? She was supposed to. She was supposed to. That was her job. It was her job. What she was supposed to do? Oh, you're black? Oh, you can go. You're free to go. Come on, man. What is the matter with y'all? Now, if the argument was Kamala Harris locked up falsely accused black men, then you have an argument. But that's not the argument being made. The argument being made, she locked up thousands of black folks back in the day when she was such and such. Okay. Number one, she didn't arrest them. She didn't arrest them. But whatever. So don't feel bad, Latinos. The ones who are mad at their fellow Hispanic and Latinos for voting for Trump. Trust me, black folks did the same thing. So don't trip. I only mention this because I've seen a lot of that on social media. I mean, a lot. Don't speak to me no more and all this. I mean, hatred, man. Just relax. It's all right. It's going to be all right. But last but not least, the one that almost took me out, what I hear people saying, and it blows my mind when it comes out of the mouth of people that don't get it. They just don't get it. They're so delusional. It is sad. Trump gonna give us all these tax breaks that he was talking about. Trump wasn't lying. I know, shocker, right? Kevin's agreeing with Trump. Yeah, Trump, he didn't lie there. He is gonna hand out tax breaks. Not to us. We're not nobody, and I mean nobody, who has made that statement around me is nowhere near the tax bracket that is going to affect them. We're not getting that. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate to bust your bubble. I hate to pee in the pool, but that's the truth. It won't even affect you. And so for all of you who made that vote, who walked up in that booth thinking that you about to get your taxes slashed in half, sorry, come back later. it's not happening. These are the people, and I mean individuals, who are getting those tax breaks. Elon Musk, Mark Cuban, Jerry Jones, those type of people. Oh yeah, yeah. Donald Trump is going to help businesses. I got a small business. I know he's going to help my business and this, that, and the third. You run a t-shirt shop, sir. That don't affect you. It won't affect you. The only businesses that's going to affect the Fortune 500s and up. Unless that t-shirt shop is the t-shirts that are sewn together on the thighs of virgin angels in heaven, you're not. It's not good. That's not for you. That's not for you. You're not getting nothing, sir. Thank you. Come again. Sorry for all of you who think that, oh man, when I do my income tax, boy, I'm gonna get back twice what I got last year. Sorry, not gonna happen. So it does not apply to you. And so I say all of that, and we're not doing the review. Went too far into it. So we'll do that movie another. I'm gonna prepare another episode to do that movie because it's still poignant to this show. But I say all that to say this. I want all other people who, for the past 2 or 3 days now, been shucking and jiving on social media, who's been shucking and jiving in every walk of life, whether it's work or around friends, and walking around with your chest poked out. I'm happy for you. I really am. I'm happy for you because you got what you wanted. I'm not even envious at all. Normally I'll be like, man, I wish my candidate would have won. Nah, I really don't care. It's only been 47 presidents to ever grace the White House here in this country. And out of the 47, 2 of them that I voted for ever won. And so it's not like I'm 47-0 or I'm 45-2, something like that. No, I'm 2-45 when it comes to vote. Even though I didn't vote technically, of course, for George Washington and all that, but you get what I'm saying. I want you to keep that same energy, people. All you Trump supporters. When the hammer falls, when things turn, when things don't go according to plan, I want you to remember this moment and remember how you could have stopped this. You could have put an end to this, but you chose otherwise. You chose a policy over your morality. You chose one thing that stuck out over a plethora of other things that you just chose to ignore. Because it's not like every single issue he brought up you agreed with. Now, if that's the case, then we have deeper issues. If you agree with every single thing that came out of Donald Trump, and I know there are people who do think every word come out of his mouth is scripture. I'm talking about the ones who decided to flip because Donald Trump is going to give you a tax break. I don't agree with him with this, but I do agree with him with the tax break, or I do agree with him with the building the wall, or I do agree with him with the tariffs, but not with the climate change and the women's rights and all. But that's fine. No, that's not fine, because you sacrifice one thing for the greater good of mankind, and that's sad. And I'm praying for you. I hope you get what you want. And I'm not saying that out of spite. I'm not saying that because I'm wishing evil on anybody. God bless you all. But it's gonna happen. This dude is pure evil. We done been here before. This is nothing new. He's not gonna change. We're not gonna get a different Trump. Oh, it's gonna be different this go around. How? Well, actually, you're right. It is gonna be different because it's gonna be worse. Because this is a revenge tour 2025. He is coming for blood in 2025. Don't believe me? Just watch. It's just going to be very interesting. But it is what it is. But that's just my thoughts. Like I said to start off this show, some of these things are my personal opinion. Now, if you can counter that with actual facts and say, no, Kevin, you're looking at this wrong. Actually, X, Y, Z. I'll come on here, do a whole nother show with a different insight and apologize. But until that moment, I don't want the comments, oh, you're just stupid. Bye. I'll never listen to this show again. Okay, that's fine. That's your right. But what are you helping? You're not telling me what I did wrong. You're not telling me what I did wrong. I'm telling you what I think you did wrong. Now you can agree with it and disagree with that. That's the whole point of this. It's not to start fights or nothing. We're trying to get to some common ground here. That's what normal, rational human beings do. And so, if you want to go the Donald Trump route and go to talking crazy talk, well, just know this. I'm not Michelle Obama. She's famous. She famously said, when they go low, you go high. Well, Kevin Reed's saying is a smidge bit different. When you go low, I'm going to take it to the flow with you. So just keep that in mind when we respond. But I want to hear your response. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. You can leave comments on all of those platforms as well. Don't forget about the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube. Subscribe, like, share this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to movie goodness, even though there is no movie to review today. But that's it, baby. That is a wrap for election 2024. Your president, Donald J. Trump, is coming back to the White House. This is going to be a long 4 years, people. Well, no, because he said that we'll never have to vote again if he wins. So voila, we don't have to do this no more. So we don't have any more voting to do. Thank you, Donald. I guess it's going to be well, let me shut up. Anyway, I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.